Welcome to Emotions Monday, where we look at the emotional word for the day, we define that word, we describe it in daily living, and we decide, are we going to work to reduce or increase that emotion? See if it's negative or positive and what we want to do with that. So the word of today is aggravated. Oh, I love this word because so many of us use it and we go, "Oh, I'm aggravated. This job is aggravating. The kids are aggravating. My spouse is aggravating. This show or this long line or traffic is aggravating." This is a word that we all use frequently. So what does it mean to be aggravated? Well, let's look at the definition. It would be to be angry or displeased, especially when it comes to little problems, annoyances, hang-ups and hiccups in life, causing us to become displeased. Like, this is not what I expected. This is not the way I want things to go. This is not the way I need things to go. That is part of what causes this sense of aggravation. I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to go somewhere. And I can't do it because there's a roadblock, there's a change, there's something holding me back. Those are the things that will cause aggravation. They can be small and they can be big, and they can be a series of things building up on each other to cause a greater level of aggravation. So, what does being aggravated look like in daily living? It's when that video keeps buffering that you're trying to watch. It's that Microsoft blue screen that is loading but never quite loads. We call that the blue screen of death. It's being cut off when you're driving, or people letting the door close right in your face. It's waiting on that long line, getting to the front and realizing that the store is now closed, or you run down to the store to get what you need only to find out that they're out of it and they're not restocking for the next week, or you're waiting in the restaurant for your food and you start to look around and realize that other people who came after you are eating first, and you're thinking, what is this? And your lunch hour is almost over and you haven't gotten your food yet, and you feel like you're being ignored by the waiter or the waitress. Those are the times, those are what it looks like to be aggravated in daily living. If we tried to describe every situation that causes aggravation, we'd have a super long list. And it'll be interesting to see what you guys comment on the things that cause you to be aggravated in life. But there are so many ways to become aggravated in daily living. And sometimes it's easy to let it go, and other times you carry that aggravation for the next hour, sometimes the entire day. Hopefully, you're not carrying it into the night and into the next day. Hopefully, you're deciding what to do with that aggravation. So let's decide now. What are we going to do with this sense of aggravation, these annoyances that get in the way, these things that cause you to be distracted and stop you from doing what you were meant to do, and change the way you emotionally feel about the day? What do we do with that? Well, let's decide. This is probably a feeling that we want to work on reducing or eliminating, because no one wants to be aggravated. You feel your temperature increasing. You feel that you're not able to really focus on what you meant to do. You might say things that you would regret, might curse when you don't mean to, or cut people off, or because of that aggravation, we don't always take out our aggravation on the situation that it's meant for. Sometimes we store it up and we take it out on someone who's innocent and doesn't deserve it. But because you've been aggravated, now the next person is paying for the aggravation that the last person caused. So this doesn't seem like an emotion that we definitely want to hold on to. We want to get rid of it. So how do we do that? Let's start with expressing what that we're aggravated, because there's nothing wrong with letting people know or just releasing that emotion. Now, we want to be careful. We don't want to release it and cause further damage or harm somebody, or say things that we might regret. But you do want to let it out, because it's telling you that something occurred that caused you to feel pain, that caused you to feel frustrated, that caused you to feel like you're not able to accomplish something that you need. So it's okay to express it. We have to just be careful that when we're expressing it, that we're not causing further harm or pain or injury to the person or the situation. Now, after we express it, we do want to be able to express that we're annoyed, let it out, talk about it, communicate it, because if you don't, it's building up inside of you, and your frustration, your aggravation may be at a 2, but by the time you let it out because you kept it for so long, it might be at an 8. And there's a difference on a scale of 0 to 10 what the aggravation looks like when it's at a 2 versus when you're aggravated and now it's at an 8 or a 10. So you want to be able to let it out, to express what's going on, but then also express some empathy, right? Because one of the ways to reduce feeling annoyed is really to be empathetic to the situation. For example, you're in a restaurant waiting for your food and there's only one waiter, and expressing empathy for that one waiter to have to serve 10 tables, that they might make a mistake and they might skip over you because they're overwhelmed, because maybe the other three coworkers were out sick or something happened and they're the only one that showed up for that day, and now they have to take care of everybody. So that little time of saying, yes, you know what, I'm frustrated that I have to wait, but expressing empathy to the situation, choosing to think of it differently, choosing to see it beyond just how it's impacting you, but possibly how it's impacting the other person or the people in the situation, will help reduce the level of aggravation from an 8 down to a 2, because empathy allows time, empathy allows connection, empathy allows you to think of the situation differently. So, beginning to express that empathy and understanding will allow you to reduce the level of aggravation that you're feeling. The next step after expressing your empathy to others is really to count your blessings. Is really to look around and say, you know what, I am waiting in this long line, but I can wait in this long line because I have the health to do so. I am aggravated by this job, but I'm also employed where others aren't. And I have the ability to be aggravated because it allows me some certainty that I get to make enough money to provide for my family. Looking at it and just counting your blessings, thinking of it differently, reducing the impact of that annoyance by looking at what you have versus what you don't have, or what you're being held from because you're being delayed or you're in a long line or something that occurred that took you off your path. The other thing that you can do is just to choose to release it. So expressing it was about actually verbalizing and communicating what's going on. Releasing it is about saying, okay, I'm going to choose to not let this consume my mind, consume my day, or change the direction that I was going in. That's the release. The release is either, we'll use the example of the waiter, is forgiving the waiter for getting to that other person before they got to you, right? We'll use the example of being in a long line, releasing the aggravation, knowing that, you know what, you're going to get what you need, or you may have to go somewhere else for it, but choosing not to still think about that situation for the next hour, 2 hours, or for the next day, of a situation that you have the ability to walk away from, to control, to change, choosing to release it. And even if you can't change it, to release its impact on you, to release the hook that it has into your emotions, and that the fact that it's causing you to change directions, feel differently, respond in a way that you don't want to respond. If you release the hook of that emotion, then you can respond in a way that you do want to respond. You can change directions, do something differently, and even open up the possibility of finding a solution to the thing that's causing you aggravation. One of the things that's hard for us to do when we're aggravated is to think of, what's another solution? What's another way of being able to get my need met despite the roadblock that you're encountering? And there usually is another solution. There usually is a creative way to still accomplish what you're setting out to accomplish, or to change your timeline. I expected to get these 10 things done today. I'm going to have to expand my timeline and hopefully get these 10 things done at the end of the week. And here's the adjustments that I need to make as a result of the delays that I face today. There are always alternative solutions, and sometimes There are ways to adjust your schedule, your time frame. Maybe the time frame that you had was not realistic and you need to make adjustments. Well, now you can, because your mind is open because you chose to release that aggravation to all the other possibilities to accomplishing your goal. Thank you for joining us for Emotions Monday, where we looked at the emotion of aggravation. Thank you.